Welcome back to ASX Market Watch and charting trend signals around the world. This is basically the world from a chartist's point of view here, looking at which way the indices are heading around the world so that we can determine which way 3 out of 4 stocks might be heading as well. Guys, really simple stuff. Let's just jump straight into Down Under Australia, the market that I personally trade myself. And it's actually very, very interesting this week on the All Ordinaries, the S&P 500 and the FTSE. Even China is very, very interesting as well, and I'm going to show you why. Over the last couple of weeks, this very simple line, it's a trend line, it's a downtrend line, it's not rocket science at all, it's a line on a chart, it's very, very simple tool, and yet the power of it is exactly this. Last week, we said that we'd find resistance at this level, which is the trend line, and basically, as you can see, that's exactly what happened. So again, like, this stuff definitely isn't rocket science. On Friday, the US and the FTSE had a very strong up day. However, I'm not going to jump the gun here. Basically, we're still waiting for the market to close above this level, and this is on the All Ordinaries. And so really we're finding that consolidation around the trend line that I said that we would. That's exactly what's happened. We've still got these two bars right here, this one and this one, very weak bars because they've started low and closed low. If you can see there, they've just got long tails. So that's going to give us a lot of resistance on the All Ordinaries as well. So look, a lot of people might be jumping into the market right now. And yes, absolutely, there are some stocks that are going up, maybe a handful. But yeah, look, to be honest, if you're looking at probability, the odds of probability are still, I would still personally, myself, be waiting for a stronger signal, and that would be a close above this level here. So that's what I'm personally looking for. But again, yeah, you've just got to wait for that signal, and until then, we're still in this big sideways range. Really simple stuff. Great stuff as well, though, isn't it? I mean, fantastic, really. The FTSE is another example, just a perfect example. Over the last couple of weeks, we've just been calling the bottoms here and the tops. Why have we been calling these? Because of the trend line support, 1, 2, 3. That's exactly where we found that trendline support. Just beautiful stuff there at the trend line. And then we've got this downtrend line. And where did we find resistance on this last week? Basically at that trend line. So that's exactly where the resistance happened. And again, look, a lot of people may be jumping into the market, but I personally would be waiting for the market to be closing above that trend line, just because it has already proven itself to show resistance, as a trend line will. So again, really not rocket science. I would wait for it to close above that level. And maybe above the previous peak, just to be a bit more certain. That's just myself personally. But yeah, other than that, that's the FTSE. Really simple stuff again. Next up is the S&P 500, and does this look familiar to you guys? I mean, seriously, here's our downtrend line. There's your resistance there, and what have we had over this last week? Well, that's right. You tell me. It's resistance. Again, this is so simple, guys. So simple. And yet it does just work beautifully. It's a beautiful technical analysis at its best, really. And we've got this resistance, more overhanging resistance at 1320 on the S&P 500. So just be very careful of that. But again, I would be personally waiting for that signal, even though we did have a nice up day on Friday. I'd be waiting for that signal. It would have to go above that level, maybe above the previous peak as well. Other than that, we're still looking at sort of this, it's really, I mean, on a longer term basis, the S&P 500 is still in an uptrend, guys. So, it's just got to be very careful. And if it does close above this bar here, then that will be a Dow theory entry, and that will give us basically a medium-term sort of entry signal, again, based on that particular pattern. But again, so until then, really sort of looking at that sideways movement in and around this level, because we've got a lot of resistance coming up. If it goes above that previous peak, then that's happy days for me. That would be a decent enough signal. Obviously always keep your stops in and risk the right amount for you. So I mean, seriously, it's such great stuff. Very simple. Shanghai Composite is another great example of this as well. This is where we called the resistance a couple of weeks ago, and again, so simple. Now the market is really falling away. We called the downtrend on this one. I think we called a solid downtrend around about there, another one around about here, And obviously we called resistance here as well. Why would we have done that, guys? Just have a quick look. Exactly right. That downtrend resistance. But yeah, very, very simple, and yet extremely powerful, obviously, because all of these little calls for more downtrends, that's exactly what's happened. So really, I mean, happy days. When you're right in the market, I mean, that's when you tend to make money, obviously. So that's probably the best part about it. Really, there's not much more to it than that. It would have to close above this downtrend line for it to be a reversal for myself. But in the meantime, China remains in that downtrend, and it has for quite some time. Last but not least is the Nikkei. And the Nikkei, again, not rocket science in any way, shape, or form. Here is our downtrend line here. And where did the market find resistance on this week? Exactly around that level. So yeah, it didn't quite make it into that level. But yeah, that's what you expect when there's resistance around and about. And again, you know, we called a downtrend back here, called resistance. Well, we've got this downtrend and we've called the resistance at about 8,800. So that's the Nikkei. Very simple. If it was to trade above that level, then that you could start looking at a possible new uptrend. But I'd just be very hesitant. I'd yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. Basically, look out for that resistance because you've still got this overhanging resistance around the 9,200 level as well on this big down bar where it closed low. So apart from that, that's the world from a Chartist point of view. Very simple. I hope it has helped in some small way. Check out my website asxmarketwatch.com for a whole bunch of free stuff on the market. Absolutely fantastic. A lot of trend following stuff as well. Guys, have a fantastic week and happy trending until next time. See you then.